It seems like no matter what, Royal Ivy always ends up at the end of the Philly bench.
That's actually a seat you could buy. It's like
Can I get 12 minutes? How much does that cost? Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, I'm at Tay's house.
Oh, God. Tay has a house?
Tay got 2 homes.
Frankie! When you dropping, yo, seriously though, when you dropping songs like this.
Hello and welcome to the HoopSmack Podcast. We are previewing each of the 30 NBA teams, and right now we're talking about the Atlanta Hawks. They finished 44-38 last year, number 2 in the Southeast Division. They finished sixth in the Eastern Conference. They lost in the first round to the Indiana Pacers. Guys, are they still going to be mediocre this upcoming season?
Well, that's what they do best. Atlanta's the mascot for mediocrity. Their goal every year, when they strategize, their GMs, presidents, they have to do what they can, everything in their power to be mediocre. And I think they're going to be successful again this year. They have to go 40. They have to win anywhere between 39 to 46 games, and they have to draft in the 12th, 13th, or 14th spot every year. They have to. If they haven't, they've been unsuccessful.
So that's their mission
statement?
Right.
If they contend for a championship, they're going to be unsuccessful. They have to be mediocre, because that's what they do. And looking at this roster, they're going to be successful. They're going to reach their goal this year.
What do you guys think about their off-season moves?
I honestly disagree with Ben. I think mediocrity is the best that they could do this year. Like, this roster is utterly gross. I don't see any type of lineup that their coaching staff could put on the floor that would actually scare another team or even win. I see them going 0-82 with this roster. Like, seriously. They've got like 45 people on the roster that are 6'4" or shorter. And
you forgot the Phoenix Suns are in this league, right? You forgot the Sixers are in this league?
Yeah, but the Atlanta is on the East Coast, which means they've got to play Miami 3 or 4 times, New York 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, but they only have to play the Sixers once to win.
I give them 30 wins, 35 at the most.
Man, you're generous. I think they suck. I feel sorry for Al Horford and Lewis Williams. That's about it. I don't feel sorry for Jeff Teague because he got paid.
I think that Atlanta is going to win at least 40 games, at most 40 games. But I don't think they're going to be that terrible. The moves they made, I believe they made them, and this is me looking into the mind of Danny Carey, but essentially to try to keep the cap space low, but kind of get some of those assets in and try to do what Houston did, which was trade for or be able to have cap space to sign a superstar to play with Al Horford and Jeff Teague if he emerges. So I think he's trying to keep it low because he knows realistically they're not going to challenge for a championship. I do think they'll make the playoffs. And then from that, he's going to use those assets to make different deals. I mean, the man got rid of Joe Johnson. Like, let's give him some credit.
Yeah, but it's one thing to get rid of, bad contracts. It's another thing to attract free agents. And the thing with Atlanta is, as big a city as it is, the tradition, there's not a winning tradition. It's a tradition of just mediocrity and second round losses. Like, no free agent is coming to Atlanta. You know what I mean? They're going to look elsewhere. And if you do get one, you're going to have to overpay by a lot. And, who?
Josh Smith went to Detroit. And if
right, but I'm saying, but honestly,
play next to Charlie Villanueva, someone from Atlanta if they paid them.
Who's the last agent? Who's the last big free agent that came to Atlanta?
There hasn't been one in forever. The only way that they get players is through the draft. I mean, Dwight Howard didn't go there, and he's originally from Atlanta. I do like their draft picks. I do like the signing of Paul Millsap. I think they got a steal in that. I've always liked Paul Millsap, but between him and Horford, they are the undersized all-stars there.
And Horford stuck at 5?
No, they have an undersized center and an undersized power forward in Horford and Millsap. This team isn't going to contend. They really needed to get that big splash in free agency of getting Dwight Howard. Letting Josh Smith walk is not the end of the world. He's more of a headache than he's worth, and we'll see that with Detroit here later this year.
So if you guys had to give a grade to their moves, what would you give them for this offseason?
I'd give them
12.
For what they're trying to accomplish, it's an A. But for like normal people, it's a D. It's just not like. I mean, like I said, I like the fact that you got rid of Josh Smith. You weren't going to get anything by keeping him anyway. You were just going to, be in a tough spot financially. But the thing is, you clearing cap room. No one's going to come there. That's why I agree, like Miles said, they need to do it via the draft. They're the only big city that need to build via the draft because no one's going to come there. It's just not going to happen.
We act as if, like, you can't trade for someone, or if money doesn't talk. Like, we've seen these people. Al Jefferson went to the Bobcats. Let's keep it real.
Is Al Jefferson a championship piece?
If he was on the team that added other pieces, then yeah, he could be a member of a championship team. I mean, that's not necessarily the question. I mean, the question is.
My thing is those championship pieces aren't going to be in place in Atlanta for you to get someone like Al Jefferson to win a championship. It's not going to happen.
If you had Al Horford and Paul Millsap in place, I think that outside of your dislike for Al Horford altogether, I think those are good pieces. I give him a C because I think the Dennis Schroeder draft pick was a great draft pick.
Amen.
I think that Paul Millsap signing for what they signed him for was a steal. And you were able to get rid of Josh Smith, who frankly is a headache for Atlanta. So for me, I give them a C only because they didn't add anything else. You signed Damian Wilkins. You have let me see, Shelvin Mack. You have Royal Ivy. I mean Demar or whatever his name is. It doesn't matter. We'll forget it tomorrow. He's starting at small forward. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's pathetic. But for what they've done, a C+ is, I think, a fair grade for them.
Don't forget the Elton Brand deal.
That was a good sign.
You can forget the Elton Brand.
I would give them a B-, and I agree with Dante that seeing Dennis Schroeder in person at the Nike Hoop Summit, I think that he'll be a quality NBA point guard. Not this year, but in the next 2 to 3 years. I think that Elton Brand is done, but he's someone that if you could get him for $4 million, then you're doing solid. I also like Lucas Nogueira, even though he won't play there this year. That's with Schroeder. That's a solid piece. And in summer league, both of those players played extremely well. So they're definitely building towards the future. I actually don't see them making the playoffs this year. I think they'll be like the 9th or 10th seed in the East, but they're going to continually they have to break it down before they actually build up, and they've built up, and losing Josh Smith is not the end of the world.
They have to do this via the draft. Schroeder and Lucas Nogueira are solid draft picks, but they're years away from even contending or doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, building through the draft is not a terrible or impossible task. But yeah, it's weird that a big city needs to do that and they can't attract a free agent. They were a top 10 defense apparently, according to the numbers. Yeah, I thought that was weird.
But I think that's not
real.
Hard to believe.
Exactly.
No, I think it's not hard to believe. They won't do that this year. I mean, if anything, their offense will be solid, but their defense will be below average.
What are you seeing? I don't see anything that's solid about this. Like, okay, Dennis Schroeder, he's a great draft pick. Problem is, you have Jeff Teague, who's also young. So Dennis Schroeder's growth is going to be stunted if you're actually going to get $8 million a year out of Jeff Teague. So it's kind of redundant, which speaks to Atlanta because they've been redundant for the last 20 years. Like, they do the same thing over and over and over again.
Yep.
I don't see how this is solid. I don't see a C+, a B-. This is a F12. Like, hit escape, Control-Alt-Delete. This team needs to be just contracted from the league. The way this team is just like, I don't see. I'm angry because I'm looking at their roster and it looks like the list of like attendance for second grade. Like some of these people I've never even heard of. Like, why isn't my name on this list? If you're gonna sign this many guards, I'm looking at, of course, all these guys are not gonna stay because it's still preseason. But if you're gonna have 3 and 4 and 5 different point guards and shooting guards, one of which is Lewis Williams, who's 6'1" as shooting guard, like the days of AI shooting guards is over. Like let's get real. We need to get big. The tallest person on your team is Hero Antic. What? Like, I don't know who that... Isn't that, like, an equation in math? Like, I don't know what this team is supposed to be. And I don't see 30 wins. I don't see 20 wins. But if they're going to suck that back, then they need to be a top 1, 2, 3 draft pick. And hopefully they grow from the draft. But if they keep doing redundant stuff like drafting point guards when they have one and they match their offer sheets, I don't see how they're growing.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys know, you don't ever want to be stuck in the middle. You don't want to be an Atlanta Hawk. If you're gonna suck. If you're gonna be good, contend for a championship. That's it.
Yeah, but that's not realistic. You have fans, you have a GM, you have an owner to report to, and he's not going to make money you doing that, especially in a fair weather city like Atlanta. As far as how the makeup of the team, you don't win big with bigs anymore. I mean, like, come on, this is not the 90s. He's clearly as equipped and I'm serious. Like, you don't win big with bigs, man. Like, everyone who wins a championship, everyone who wins a championship has a competent big, but you don't have to build a team full of long, tall, 10 twin towers, dude. Like, that's not how you win championships. If that's how you win championships, the last team that did that was, let me see, the Lakers, with Lamar Odom playing key minutes at the big position. Like, you win a championship spreading shooting threes amongst many other things. I mean, let's keep it real.
Would you consider that Mavericks team solid bigs, Dirk and Chandler?
Come on, who?
The Dallas Championship squad.
Dirk's not a traditional big.
Well, he's still a big. He's still listed as a big.
He averages 7 rebounds per game.
You talking about a post player, like someone who back.
No, I'm talking about someone who plays not like a small forward. Like we knock on Bargnani, but Dirk doesn't play big.
He plays big
at all.
He's not a traditional big.
He plays big who does not score in the post or anywhere near the basket.
You're saying like a Duncan and Robinson type combo.
No, I'm talking about someone who can guard the rim. Dirk can't do that. I'm talking about someone who can play in the post.
Yeah, but Chandler did.
Play in the post.
But Chandler did. You're saying you can't win a championship.
Yeah, but no. What I'm saying is you don't need bigs, plural. This team doesn't need. They have Al Horford. He's big enough.
They also have Elton Brand.
And Elton Brand's defense last year was solid. That's what they picked him up for. I'm gonna need you guys to read. I'm gonna need you guys to read a book.
40 wins. He's a mediocre team. Basically, they swapped out Paul Millsap for Josh Smith, and he'll probably get close to 20 and 10. Probably like 15 and 8. So it'll probably still be a good, solid defensive team. Again, they're stuck in the middle. I don't think so. They're gonna have to move Horford to pull this thing up. They're gonna always contend for the eighth seed. But yeah, I think they make the playoffs again.
Delgado prediction.
I'm gonna say 38 wins. Ceiling of 42.
Peterson prediction.
17 wins.
Alright.
Wow.
Ben prediction.
30 and 52.
Miles prediction.
I have them at 35 wins, 47 losses, unless they trade Al Horford for Carlos Boozer and Marcus.
Oh no! Oh my gosh, that's a Hawk move. That is an Atlanta Hawk.
Marcus Teague.
Hey, I mean, you got the brothers play together.
And add yet another point guard. That's definitely an Atlanta Hawks move.
They might do it.
They'll play Carlos Boozer and 4 point guards.
It worked at Duke.
Oh my gosh.
I have no response to that. 33 wins. And I don't think they make the playoffs, actually. Which is probably non-Atlanta-like, because they usually make the playoffs and lose in the first round. But, yeah, I don't see them making the playoffs this year.